Nate.
And this is our channel, Weight Loss, What Works.
So we just completed our last week.
Our first week.
Our first week of our diet and fitness program.
Our program, which is no particular program, all of the programs.
Yeah. Let's talk about just the fitness part first, and then we can move on maybe to talk about the diet. So
Last time we agreed that we would do 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
How did you do?
I felt like I was able to do it almost every day. I just found I had to take a lot of time outside of my normal work life in order to just do steps, which seemed to take a lot of time when you're like 5,000 steps short of hitting that 10,000 step goal. All of a sudden you're now taking almost 15 minutes to just walk when you could be maybe doing something that's a little bit more vigorous.
I feel like 15 minutes is the worst example. You can't do an exercise in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So for that is an example, I'm like, well, you made it sound easy even though you're complaining.
Yeah. I would
exercise is normally something you don't get done throughout the day.
Yeah.
So for you to say you got most of it done throughout the day makes it sound positive.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's one of those things. So there's days where I had to concentrate more on getting steps where I was 7,000 short, and I still had to walk for a long time, where I felt like my time could have been better used, and I could have burned a lot more calories if I just did something that actually got the heart rate going.
So for me, I don't get very many steps during my workday at all. So for you to be like, I only had to walk for 15 minutes, I'm like, really? You're going to complain about walking? I'd go for an hour-long walk after.
Yeah.
So an hour to only burn a grand total of 300 calories beyond a sedentary lifestyle is a lot of time. It's a time sink. For me, obviously I don't have kids or anything, but if we're looking at other people's lifestyles who are what's a good way to stay fit when you might not have as much time to exercise, 10,000 steps is not going to burn anything. So when you do combine it with calorie counting, you really don't build any wiggle room for yourself. So I would say for me and for you, where we're not we don't have a lot of pounds to shed, we're more looking to get fit, it doesn't burn that much calorie, because you burn more calories if you weigh more.
Yeah.
But we don't weigh that much, so we're not burning that much. When I was doing the journal things, I looked at my heart rate before and after, and my regular sitting on my butt heart rate is 67 beats per minute, and then walking, the very top it went was 94 beats per minute. So I'm not even I'm definitely not in a cardio zone. I'm not even in a fat burning zone. Because when you do heart rate, they say there are different zones.
Yeah.
So obviously if you're really making your heart pump, it's good for cardio fitness.
Yeah.
This is good for you haven't sat on your butt all day fitness.
Yeah.
So, but I would say for people who aren't fit at all, for people who struggle to just move, it's a good starting point, especially if you combine it with counting calories, because then it's just kind of getting yourself into the groove of things.
Yeah.
So for a first workout, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just not maybe right for anyone who's looking for more fitness.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. If maybe you're just either not the type of shape where you can just get on a treadmill and just run.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for a lot of people, whether it's, certain other disabilities or just how, either their own body weight or even age, they're not going to be able to just go and be like, all right, I'm going to run 15 minutes on the treadmill. That's not necessarily an option for them.
Well, and I figure at some point we'll probably try jogging. But
Right.
For me personally, that's why I don't do jogging. Is I'm not elderly or anything, but for some reason I get really bad shin splints no matter what I do. I've tried the Couch to 5K or whatever, and I cannot do it without injuring my shins for 3 months. They will not stop hurting. to the point where it's just like, there's got to be something that's low impact. So if you're looking for something low impact, I would say that the workout, it's a good starting point, even if it's just making time for yourself. Like, I've slotted out an hour, like, at least now that you've built that into your life, maybe later you could switch it out for something else. But if you're saying, well, I walked for 15 minutes after work, well, you're not going to replace that with anything worthwhile, because 15 minutes isn't a long workout.
Yeah, I mean those, that might have just been like a more of like, that would have been a light day when like I just have to kind of get some of my steps in.
But like most people do work out in addition, so like you're complaining that you had to make time to work out, which is the point.
Yeah. It's not that I had to make time to work out. I just like want to use my time efficiently and to burn the most at the time that I'm given.
Well, you'd have to slate out more than 15 minutes. Like 15 is not. I think we've concluded that 10,000 steps is, well, as they said, it's means you have a generally healthy lifestyle, which I would take to mean if you regularly walk 10,000 steps without overeating, you won't be fit in a cardiovascular way, but you maybe won't be unhealthy in a annual checkup with your doctor sort of way.
Yeah.
Which isn't really what I want. Like, I did feel like even going for an hour walk, I just listen to a podcast and I go walk and I look at the birds and I smell the fresh air and the sunshine, and I would do that anyways on top of a workout. So for me to count that as my exclusive workout, I'm like, well, I'm not working out this week.
Yeah.
So that was, it basically felt like the first week was we're not going to work out this week.
Yeah.
I did get it most days, but there were days when I did not.
Yeah. So then on to the more difficult portion. I would say for myself.
Oh, okay.
For myself was calorie counting.
Why is that hard for you?
It's hard for me mainly because it's just, I kind of like to be able to enjoy myself once in a while. I like to be able to...
I have some bad news for you. You're going to hate every diet.
Yeah.
So that demands some background check. Have you ever dieted before? I
have dieted before. I did do calorie counting before, and I genuinely disliked it mainly because I'm a person when I like to make a meal, like an actual home cooked meal, I eyeball a lot of my ingredients, so it's hard to be like, oh, I need to count the exact calories of this sauce that I'm going to be lightly putting on top of some chicken. I mean, like, it's like I don't have a definitive amount of how much I'm actually putting on. I just kind of put it on there, and I'm like, yep, there we go, good enough. So it's one of those things where I find myself end up having to eat more prepackaged or, frozen food or stuff, or just totally raw foods, where it's not a very enjoyable experience.
How do you perceive that would be different with a different diet, though?
It would probably depend on which food groups you're eliminating. So say in the future, if we were to do something that eliminated certain food groups, something like, say, where we're doing a strictly meat-based diet, there's a lot more leeway in terms of how you prepare that versus in terms of just, okay, what is the exact number of, say, this portion of chicken that I have that has bones and all this other stuff in half, and when it's like, oh, well, each portion of each 1 cup of this chicken equals X amount of calories, when I don't want to have to take an entire chicken thigh, dice it up, and fit it into a cup and figure out how many calories it has. Okay,
well, maybe one thing to address is, how did you count calories? Because I didn't have any of these problems at all. So you see.
Yeah, I get that, yeah. I mean, I luckily this week, I just prepared, earlier this week, I prepared a basic meal where I was just like, all right, this is what I'm going to be making, this is what I'm going to be doing. So I had something pre-made for myself that I could count, which was a real pain in the butt for me, at least, trying to determine which factors actually contributed to calories.
So did
for
you
it.
just keep a notebook?
Yeah, I basically just kind of kept like track of like, okay, I had this for lunch, and then I would just kind of put it like in notes within my phone that day, and then I would just keep track of like, okay, so I had this, so now I can actually, maybe have a fuller portion when I get home. Or sometimes there'd be days where it's like, great, I get to have no food when I go home.
This brings up an awesome point, which is part of us not having experience is we've been trying not to influence each other's efforts to do this, which means that we're doing the same diet and exercise, but our approaches might be different because we feel like if the point is to be an amateur and just kind of figure it out, what do you do? I used an app, and the app counted everything for me. And if you go in the app and you go, chicken thighs, it doesn't ask you to measure them in cups. It says this is how many calories there are for one thigh. And you're like, cool.
Yeah, I did not have that. I did not have that luxury. I just had...
But you could have if you Googled.
I could have Googled. But not everybody uses Google, and sometimes it's important to give that perspective of the common idiot.
You just took it 19th century calorie counting.
Yes.
Before
the internet.
He wanted you to have the perspective of what life could be like if you are somehow watching this video, but don't have the internet.
Yes.
So my experience with calorie counting is that I am a tiny person who does not need food, and then I have an existential food crisis in which I am like, one meal is all I need a day, or I can eat water. So for me, I think we took different approaches for our calorie intake as well. So I always list myself as sedentary because I work a desk job and I don't want to count my exercise, especially if we're doing something like 10,000 steps where it's not really very active. And I know that calorie counting we tend to be gentle on ourselves, which means we eat more than we calculate, which is how you fail. So I'm like, if I give myself that wiggle room of being like, no, I sit on my butt 24/7. Maybe I can eat some food, but the answer is that I only need 1,200 calories if I'm sedentary, and I want to lose weight and not maintain my weight. So I'd have like one egg and a tortilla with like a tablespoon of salsa, and that's my breakfast, which if you take, we're talking like the 8-inch or whatever, the tiny tortillas. So it'd just be like this little tiny burrito, and you're like, then that's at 7 a.m. say. Around 9 a.m. you're like, do I get to eat again? Not for hours. And the other thing is, the thing I like about calorie counting is that there are no rules other than you cannot eat more than this amount of calories. Which means, on the one hand, it's easy because you can eat whatever you want. But on the other hand, you'll be like, I would like a beer later, and that will be approximately 200 calories. So I'm going to deny my body nutrients because I would like a beer.
Yeah.
So for those of us who do like to indulge, it's probably not strict enough to actually prevent our cheating ways.
Yeah. I'll say I definitely would consider possibly doing it later, just on maybe a couple of days a week where I could actually just tell myself, hey, maybe count calories maybe at least 4 times a week in a very strict regiment form. That way to at least, because the way I calculate, there's 3 different numbers that I got. One was for just maintaining, losing weight, and losing weight fast. So if, I go for losing weight fast for out of 3 out of the 7 days, or maybe 4 out of the 7 days a week, then that's something I can see more properly incorporating and be like, okay, I have this event, or maybe I'm going out with friends one night. I can have one bad night if it means I can go, if I still keep to my regimen of I still have to count calories these other days.
For me, I think that there really is a relationship between diet and exercise.
Yeah.
And the way we paired these, I think, is good in the sense that it shows that you don't have to like be intense about your diet if you are aware of the calories. You can still be kind of light on your exercise, but you have to be very strict with your calories. If we weren't doing this on days when we didn't have the best diet, which we should mention, there were times at work more than once this week where they bought us ice cream or they bought us lunch, so it was really difficult to not be like, well, I blew all my calories on lunch, even though it was sandwiches, because everything has a lot more calories. Like when you are on 1200, you become aware that it's like everything is calories.
Yeah.
That piece of bread, that's calories. I can't eat any of this food. And that gives you kind of a complex, which I also think is like I feel like it's a little bit unhealthy when you are more towards the fit spectrum, because like you can eat more calories when you weigh more. Like you weigh a lot more than I do, so you can eat a lot more calories. My stomach is not actually smaller than yours. I can eat the same amount of food as you. It's just that I will get fat.
Yeah.
So I can't do that if I want to maintain my certain body type. So that being said, we did, because it was 10,000 steps, we tried to restrict it to 10,000, or just like make sure you get 10,000, and then anything else is how much you naturally walk throughout the rest of the day. So like for me, a lot of times I would get to the 10,000 by going for a walk, but then I'd like go to the library afterwards. So that like for me, that's just a few blocks away, but it adds, another 1,000 steps. So it was actually like an 11,000 step. But the point is, calorie counting is really great if you're doing more intense exercises, because you can always exercise more when you've screwed up.
Yeah.
And we specifically agreed not to do that because of the type of exercise program we're on. It would be like, well, 20,000 steps is not what the program is called, so we can't just throw in an extra exercise, because then we'd be doubling it. So it's like if you screwed up, you're like, this is my life now.
Yeah.
So like if we were doing like something like a boot camp type thing, it'd be like, well, just 15 more minutes of boot camp and it'll burn you're not burning anything extra walking 15 minutes walking. It's just like, well, there's another 20 calories. Bitch.
Yeah. You can have a small piece of broccoli now.
Mm-hmm. But usually for me at least, if I'm doing extra exercises, it's either because I am planning to eat something. This is why I like counting calories, is because you can have beer, you can have cake, you can have what you want. It's really about portion sizes and knowing what is a portion, but on the bad side, you can also deny yourself nutrients in order to get the things you want. So you're like, I ate 0 fruits today because I was saving all of my calories for cake. So I feel like there are the pros, but I don't feel like these things are specifically great paired together unless you are really not fit already.
Yeah. So did you see any results from anything this week?
Well, I can tell by your bias that you did not.
I did actually see some results.
Are they bad or good results?
There was no changes in any of my measurements, but I lost a grand total of 2 pounds.
How much do you expect to lose in a week?
It's one of those things where, like, I think a lot of it was more just counting calories, because then it's just like I just don't eat at all. Mm-hmm. So like that was a lot, especially for like my body type and height, where I'm more likely to just naturally just burn more calories, just even doing basic stuff.
So you say 2 pounds and you were really dramatic about it?
Yeah.
Like that was pathetic? And most like weight loss, they say not to lose more than 2 pounds per week, unless you're like very severely overweight, which you are not, I don't think. I say kindly.
Thanks.
So fat. Oh my god. I'm being body positive.
Thank you.
So I lost 1 pound.
Ooh.
But like I said, I think that that's good.
Yeah.
Like I think like I wouldn't if I were working out hard, like being really strict, and I don't feel like I was that strict because we did get food at work and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm like free food. I'll just suffer after work and not eat. But I would never expect to lose more than 2 pounds just for my body.
Yeah.
Like for me, 1,200 calories. Like if I exercise more, I tend to eat more because I'm like, great, I burned a little bit of extra calories, so maybe I can have 1,400.
Yeah.
But like I would never expect to lose more than 2 pounds a week for myself because I'm just kind of not big.
Yeah, I got some extra stuff to lose, so I got a lot of.
But you're not fat enough to like overweight enough. I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things where like I just got enough on me to the point where like I could still lose it, but like not feel like without doing a whole lot. I mean, that I could easily gain it back very easily.
Well, gaining weight's always easier.
I
just
think
feel
it's just
like-
a matter of my
I
metabolism.
feel
should
like
say.
you shouldn't be projecting unhealthy expectations for yourself to other people who are then going to have those unhealthy expectations for themselves. I
Yeah.
just feel like you're being unrealistic because you do know that like 1 pound of fat is 500 fewer calories a day.
Yeah.
So in order for you to lose 2 pounds, you were negative 1,000 calories a day, which is almost what I get to eat in a day. And you're saying, well, I could have lost even more than that. I'm like, could you have done that while being healthy? Are you going to be anorexic? The point in this is not to develop an eating disorder. I'm going to scold you like a child. We're not going for eating disorders.
Yes.
2 pounds is excellent. Good job.
Thanks.
Did you lose any inches?
No, nothing really changed.
What do you measure?
Bicep, stomach, chest.
You don't measure your booty or your thighs?
I don't measure my booty or my thighs. I assume those are numbers that are just more. maybe not the exact numbers where people go like, damn, that guy's got some thick thighs.
So I'm a woman, so I carry a lot of my weight on the bottom, and I feel like I wouldn't be providing much information if I didn't measure those things. Because my booty's the reason my jeans don't fit. So I lost you know when you use just like a measuring tape, you feel like maybe you're squeezing harder or like not measuring in the exact same spot. So I kind of take it with a grain of salt. But consistently, I measure my biceps and my tummy in 2 places. I like to measure the skinny part, but then the fat part, because I have to make myself feel bad. And then my hips, and then my thighs, and then like right above the knee, because those are different spots. And my calves. I measure a lot of things, because I want to have a complex. Remember that complex I don't want to have? I secretly want it.
Yeah.
And I think I've consistently lost like a 1/4 inch, which isn't like, when you think about it, you're like, this much? You're like, but that's 1 week. That's not bad for 1 week.
That's a lot of like you say if you were to say I lost a 1/4 inch in one spot, that would have been like okay, but you lost it across your entire body.
Yeah, I
so
don't
you
think...
take your entire well, maybe not across your entire body, but in a lot of surface area. So that all adds up really at the end,
Yeah. Overall, I'd say it's a good place to start, but it's definitely not motivating for people who are like, no, I want to build muscle definition. I want to look good at the beach. Like it's not the kick in the booty I need.
I will say one of the probably the bigger positive effects. It just it makes you look more critically at a lot of like health food places that advertise having healthy options. and you realize 90% of that is just without all the good stuff that they want, that they always advertise in the ads. So when you actually take into account all, when you get like a salad, yeah, it looks good at the start, but then you start adding chicken, dressing, croutons, all that stuff, it just completely changes the entire calorie count.
Oh yeah, like if you go to restaurants where they show the calories for food, like on the menu,
Yeah.
there have been so many times where I'm like, this salad is worse than the burger.
Yeah.
Well, then I want the burger. Like, if it's a choice between a salad that's 1,000 calories and a burger that's 1,000 calories, I'm going for the burger.
Or even if it's just like a 200 calorie difference and it's like...
Oh, well, that would matter to me.
Yeah.
To me it would, but that's because I'm tiny, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't need food.
But yeah, I would say there's just a lot of health food almost theater where they'll dress up food in advertisements and make it seem like it's all fresh, it's all good for you, and it's all going to be amazing. And then it's one of those things where they quietly tuck the calorie count behind, until you actually maybe go to pay for it or order it.
Are you talking about what we had for lunch this week?
Yes.
I didn't think it was that bad for eating out. We had sandwiches, we won't say from where.
Yeah.
But it was, it's a place that promotes itself as being healthy, and I want to say, like, almost organic. Frequently organic? I don't know. But the thing is, their sandwich alone is like 500 calories. The problem is, we had a sandwich and salad and a cookie.
Yeah, I would just say that's probably my biggest takeaway, is that it just gives you at least a help. It makes you look. It makes you at least look, which is the big thing, because then you can at least make an alternative choice.
So to conclude, we don't like calorie counting, but that's because we're lazy.
Yes, it's very true.
But, we didn't even cover the fact that, like, if you do cook at home and you cook anything complex, oh my god, you just have to, like, you have to cook in bulk. You don't want to cook that individually.
That was the only way I was able to get through this week, is I made chicken thighs and I just cooked all of them at once because I wasn't going to do it every single week or every single day. That was not going to happen.
For me, because I use an app, so I could just, like, record the same thing every day. Because it's the app remembers.
Yeah.
It knows. But every time I've made, because I made just, like, burrito bowls, so it would just be, like, rice, beans, corn, ground turkey, which I don't consider super complex. But, like, if you ever actually make, like, soup where you don't get to count the individual ingredients,
No.
the best thing is when it's already on the internet to record. If you have to add your own meal, like, you can, and we have a video about how to do that you clearly didn't watch because you didn't use the app.
Nope.
I like calorie counting, but only when I get to pair it with intense exercise so that I can eat more food and be happy.
Yes.
But we did see results, which is great, because the other option would be to not lose weight or gain weight. So I'd consider this a positive if you're very strict with your life. So that means we're done with this week and we can do something else that we might hate more. Yay! So we've decided to go gluten-free for a week, which I think we just want to get out of the way.
Yeah.
We've decided to go gluten-free because it's a popular thing that people are doing. It started out as celiac disease. Some people say they're gluten sensitive. Others say that there's no reason at all not to eat gluten. I think we're both on team go gluten. Otherwise, we would be excited to do this. This saying is, or the people who do go gluten-free say that they have more energy, that they have better intestinal
Health.
I'm just thinking of my intestines now, and I've never thought of them so much before. And obviously, they say that they've lost a lot of weight. Going into it, I think that might be true, that you would lose a lot of weight because gluten is tied pretty closely with carbs, it's not exactly a carb-free diet because you can still eat rice, which I will be doing a lot of. Obviously restricting a certain food that's known for being high in calories, because I eat a lot of bread and pasta.
I'm more concerned about the liquid things I'm going to have to cut out on my diet to be gluten-free.
Beer. We've already checked, because we know we're not the only ones who want to know. And wine is gluten-free.
Thank God.
So we're going to try it for 1 week, and probably only 1 week, but we are naysaying. We're going to do it. Paired with this diet, we are going to do what for exercise?
The T25 exercise.
T25 by Shaun T. I have done it before, which is why we have access to it.
I have also done a Shaun T exercise program before.
Was it the one that's dancing? Please tell me it's the
It
one
was
that's
not
dancing.
the one with dancing.
I don't remember what it's called, but I really hope that's what it was.
Booty Boot Camp.
Was it Hip Hop Abs?
Oh yeah, I did do that one. It was I did a Sanity for a month, and I saw a lot of results doing that.
So this is going to be like Insanity, which we might also try later. Probably not back to back, just because that would feel like we're not diversifying.
Yeah.
But we're going to start with T25. It's a 25-minute workout, which is without the warm-up or cool-down or whatever ever. So it's probably more like a 30-minute workout, but compared to having to take an hour-long walk after work, I think that will be a pretty good savings of time. What would you rate your current fitness level as far as cardio?
As far as cardio, I would say before we started doing our first week, I was able to run a mile, at least, straight. I was able to do ample form better, a couple of months before that. I was able to run upwards to at least 2.5 miles, without stopping. But my cardio tends to plummet if I don't rigorously keep it in check and keep it engaged.
So, as I've covered in some of the app things, I have a low resting heart rate. So for me, cardio isn't that difficult. Well, it's difficult. Like, I'll sweat and I'll get out of breath. But, like, some people do cardio and they get sick. Like, if they, like... And part of the reason I really do recommend a heart rate monitor for people who are trying something that's high in cardio, because we tend to overpush ourselves if we're really into it. Like, if we're really motivated, we tend to overexert ourselves, and then we don't want to do it. So, like, if my heart rate is getting high, I can be like, I'm allowed to take it easy, because my heart rate is still in a zone that I will burn calories, so I don't, like, there's no benefit to pushing yourself beyond what you can do. So I do like having that. But I feel I'm pretty fit cardiovascularly, if not, it's all about what's on the inside. What's on the outside's what needs to be improved.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do the Gamma, which is like the third week, or I think they're all third month. I think it's a 90-day program, the T25. So I'm going to do the third month and just cut right to the hard part.
And I'll be doing the beta. Because I'm a beta.
He's going to do beta because he wants to show the world what it's like when you're starting. So we'll be checking in sometime next week just to show our progress. And then a week from now, we'll say how it goes and come up with a new plan after that. If you like this video, we encourage you to subscribe. If you subscribe and you want to know when we upload again, you can hit the little bell icon and it will tell you about our uploads.
And also, if you have any suggestions on any other exercises or diets, please leave a comment down below.
Until then.